to this edition of Hebrew Nation News on YouTube. Every week, the world seems to be descending deeper and faster into end-time events. Listen in as Bonnie Harvey covers the news highlights of the week for a quick overview. Remember, we know not the day nor the hour, but we do know the season. Reporting to you live on YouTube is this week's report, Countdown to the Second Coming.
Welcome everyone to another Countdown Report. Today's date is January 8th. I don't know if you caught this on the internet. Here is purportedly a capture, I don't know if it was a CCTV or what it was, of this alleged being. If telephone poles are on the average about 40 feet tall, this thing must be, it's a little bit closer, so maybe it's 20 to 30 feet tall. Here it is. Notice that it has horns, it has wings. What in the world is this? Is this some kind of demonic apparition that has permission to materialize now that the United States has gone so far from the mark? January 20, we're supposed to have a new president. I wonder, that is my question, will we make it? Today's the 8th. That is 12 days to go. Will we make it? Trump does not trust himself. Is Obama planning on leaving? He's awfully busy for a lame duck outgoing president. He's very, very busy. His provocation of Russia, his recalling of all carriers to port, the war on the alternative media, and the major step of federalizing elections. What in the world? His support of Calexit, bought a home in D.C., and prepositioning Chinese military within U.S. borders. The globalists will not respect the rule of law. They want to establish a one-world government, which we know from biblical prophecy will be taken over by the entity known as the Antichrist. A better term would be the pseudo-Messiah. Nonetheless, I'll say Antichrist, so we all know what we're talking about. And this is their pawn. As Putin himself said, Western leaders worship Satan. I believe it. We've seen enough Pizzagate. We have seen enough spirit cooking. By all reports, says Dave Hodges, Hillary is a fourth-degree coven witch. If you're not listening to, it's Dave Hodges' radio and his, podcasts, they're very interesting. And they will not honor the rule of law, what are their options at this point? So let's go over and let's look at this in closer detail. Trump himself is wary. He's under fire now for hiring private security. That security is Blackwater, probably the most famous private security agency in the world. Blackwater has taken a black eye because of their actions in the Middle East. He also bypasses mainstream media in favor of Twitter. He doesn't want to be misquoted. He doesn't want to be misconstrued. He wants to get the plain truth out there himself, so he's using Twitter as his own personal newspaper. Why would Trump not trust the Secret Service? Let's take a look here.
Watch the left side of your screen. The arrow points to Agent in Charge, Amory Roberts, as he stands in the Secret Service follow-up car and motions with his hand. What he is doing is calling away the president's two most important bodyguards, the bodyguards whose job was to protect the president's back by riding on the bumper of the limousine throughout the motorcade. Watch again as he stands and orders the agents running at the rear of the president's car away. Watch the confusion inside the follow-up car that results. Now watch the right side of your screen. The arrow points to one of two agents whose job was to hop aboard the bumper and act as human shields. He's obviously perplexed. Watch as he shrugs his shoulders 3 times in dismay, each shrug more dramatic than the last. As you watch this scene for the final time, ask yourself, is this the kind of conduct you would expect from an agency that routinely sends an advance team to a city a month or more prior to the president's arrival in order to make preparations? Now ask yourself if the assassination could have taken place at all had those men been on the bumper during the motorcade. This is the rear of the presidential limousine. The back bumper is specially designed with a platform on both the right and left sides. There are also handrails on both sides of the trunk. This is where the agent should have been to provide the president even minimal security. The president, unaware of the treachery behind him and the danger waiting for him ahead, continued on to his death. You are about to see segments from 3 of at least 4 films shot in Dealey Plaza.
So we see that the Secret Service was called off the Kennedy plane, the Kennedy car. Another example of failure of all security would be the Scalia matter. Here is a case of a pivotal justice, Supreme Court justice. I mean, what is his life worth? Why would he not insist upon a federal marshal's security at all times? There was no autopsy. There was a phone-in cause of death, and he was cremated quickly. All of that is red flags. Plus, he was found with a pillow over his face. The pillow over the face is a calling card. That is a message. We can get you anytime, any place, by any means. And we are so brazen that we will leave our calling card here for the world to see, because we know that the powers that be are compromised. In fact, according to Hodges again, the FBI director, Comey, sat on the Bank of China board while funneling money to the Clinton Foundation. And lo, he ends up the FBI director. What a shocker. He did not investigate Hillary Clinton. That's how compromised they are. And the perpetrators of this probably murder, I mean, they're opening themselves up for that charges by their, it's not even shoddy. It's their criminal lack of criminal investigation. Is he planning to leave? I offered that he might be just planning on walking in that door once again. His continual provocation of Russia is almost legendary. It is unheard of. Never before have we had such a rough transition by a lame duck president trying to orchestrate by every means possible a war, trying to stay in office, a disruption, chaos. He tried Syria, everything he could in Syria, sending in U.S. troops, sending in NATO troops, entering Syrian airspace, setting up a NATO headquarters in Aleppo, aligning themselves with ISIS. And still the final piece was worked out by Russia, Turkey, and Iran. Those 3, they knew they couldn't trust the West. They can't trust NATO. NATO, what's the purpose of NATO? NATO is now, virtually a terrorist organization. A Russian airliner dropped from the sky. Yes, dropped. And there was a NATO ship. in the area that had the equipment to shut down all electronics. The engine didn't work, cell phones aboard didn't work, communication with the tower didn't work. It just fell from the sky. A NATO patsy probably was used to kill the Russian ambassador. Just poke, poke, poke. Now Obama is moving troops and equipment into both Germany and the Russian border. I'm not sure what Putin is thinking. Is he part of all this? And I don't know. I can't even go there. Can't figure that out. Is he uh, the election, the campaign was also unprecedented. The mainstream media, the Soros paid underachievers, uh, all ganged up against Trump, disrupt his appearances, misquote him, uh, dig up whatever they could on him, have these Soros paid thugs even physically attacked the Trump supporters. Attacks on Trump, and then once Trump was in, they have continually attacked Trump's legitimacy, calling him now a Russian agent. Then they attacked the Electoral College, trying to persuade people because, quotes, uh, Trump is a Russian agent, therefore you have a moral obligation not to cast your vote in accordance with the majority vote of your state. That didn't fit. That didn't win either. That didn't succeed. Um, and this attack continues, causing Trump to tweet in his own personal newspaper, "Only stupid people oppose better Russia ties." And now we have the biggest attack on the election almost to date, and that is the federalization of elections. And why would a lame duck president with 12 days to go be interested in doing this if they're not going to somehow use this hook upon which to delegitimize Trump's win, Trump's president-elect status? It would mean that in the future, no city, county, or state checks and balances, even now. But why do that? Because once Trump is in, he could easily overturn this. I wonder if they're not going to use this in the next 12 days. And this again was by edict, fiat. Will they absolutely use powers to nullify the election? Virtually all carriers are now in port. This leaves unprotected American troops, American assets, and, by the way, Israel. And this is, right now, we have 1 week to go before the meeting in Paris to finalize the two-state solution, quotes. Are they purposely, is Obama purposely leaving Paris, Israel undefended? The globalist playbook is to divide and conquer, and that's what they're doing to Israel right now. Here is Israel compared to the United States, and even that is way too big. The Muslim world has not been able to defeat Israel, so now this is what they want to do. They want to virtually cut it in half. Take the bulk, and I understand at its narrowest point, it is no more than 7 or 8 miles. This would make it virtually undefendable. Divide and conquer brings up the issue of Calexit. The globalists always want to divide a population. They will introduce as many languages as they can to divide the people linguistically. This is the reason for uncontrolled immigration, to get a different people in here, so there would be a natural antipathy one toward the other. One believes in Christianity, let's get the other one being Muslim. One believes in democracy, the other one believes in Sharia. This is a powder keg waiting to waiting for a flashpoint, and division of territory. This is why Quebec seceded from Canada virtually. They have their own language, they have their own people, uh, and this is why they want Calexit to exit. They want to break up the United States. And they tried this back with the Civil War because they realized the United States could grow and become a political and economic power. They wanted, and that was too much for the European bankers. They wanted to divide the country north and south. Didn't work. They were angry with Lincoln and they had him killed. Now is Calexit. A percipient witnesses to Dave Hodges who have sat in Calexit meetings. They say the meetings were represented, or they had representatives from the following people: Central South American cartels, the Bank of China, Mexican consulate, California legislative members, 3 people from Obama's administration. Jerry Brown wants to be the president. The above sat there while other members said that if Californians oppose the exit, we'll start killing white people randomly at public events. And this again was from percipient witnesses who were there, as reported to Dave Hodges. And California, they're serious about this. I mean, by the time you have the cartels and the Bank of China, the Mexican consulate there, they're really serious about this. In fact, here is the press conference of the opening of the Independent Republic of California in Moscow. Ramifications if California leaves us: it would be a foreign country, essentially run by China. And they might have their own president, they might have their own, they might have some UN presidents, but if the Bank of China is there, it's going to be run by China. Says me. Many California ports are already purchased by China, including Los Angeles. Many of the berths in Los Angeles and Long Beach. Incoming products would be tariffed, making these products more expensive for the rest of the country. And California has some amazing ports. I mean, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. And California has the 6th largest economy in the world. And the California grows much of the nation's food. What would happen to this food? Would it exit those 3 great ports, LA, San Fran, and San Diego, and be shipped to China? Or be shipped to the head to the leading global leader country, or highest bidder? It would allow the Chinese military to move into China, and then we'd have a Golan Strip right there on our own backyard. They're already here by developing, quote, solar energy plants near U.S. military installations. Again, this is a revelation by Hodges. In California, they have solar energy plants in San Bernardino, Mojave Desert, Barstow, Blythe, Lancaster, and Bakersfield. In Arizona, Gila Bend, Red Rock, they also have solar energy plants in Florida, Nevada, and Hawaii. Forbes says China is on a solar energy building binge. They are global. A lot in Spain, a lot, and it also provides a cover for a Chinese presence. Is there also there are overtures of the province of Cascadia? Well, my goodness. Trudeau sends 150 maple trees to Washington and Oregon. All 3 states voted for Hillary. He said, come on, you're leftist. Join me. Divide and conquer the whole West Coast. This was reported on King 5 TV and the Seattle Times. Defectors from Russia, this is according to Hodges, have long held that the U.S. would be divided. A strong U.S. population is too much for the globalists. There's also the uptick in the war on the internet. As we know, Obama gave control of the internet over to the UN. And recently, both Drudge and Alex Jones, a couple of top conservative news reporting sites, they report the biggest attacks since their existence on the net. Drudge was shut down for 90 minutes. The Obama administration has um, opened volleys against fake news, insisting that writers fact check. Wayne Madsen, an investigator, says that Snopes is a CIA outlet. So you should go check with the CIA and make sure that um, your facts are straight. If you search fake news, you come up with a lot of hits. NPR Radio, Wikipedia, national leaders like Merkel and Renzi. Renzi was ousted. Now he's blaming his ousting in Italy on, quotes, fake news. And the globalists are realizing that the people are waking up, that the alternate media cannot be controlled, and there are people out there doing honest investigations, and they are reporting the truth, and people are realizing that they are being led blindfolded into a globalist empire, and they don't want it. They want nationalism. They want their own people, their own laws, their own control over their own daily lives. If we go globalist, we will have no control. It will be like the EU, just appointed members controlling every aspect of our lives. If you haven't read Agendas 21 and 30, I mean, they can come in and condemn your home because your stove is giving off too much carbon, and therefore your home needs to be condemned. So what are the globalist options? One of their options, they have tried and tried and tried, kicking and screaming, evidently to avoid a Trump presidency. And I don't know Trump. I don't know what he would be, but the globalists really, really, really don't want him. That's all I do know. I don't think all this is a charade. So their choice at this time is to somehow create enough chaos that the inauguration would be uh, postponed, and therefore and later on just ignored under the umbrella of martial law, or I hate to say it, just eradicate Trump. And I hate to see that option. But all of this is coming together now. The control of the internet, January 15, which is the supposed to be the final two-state solution, hammering out of details in Paris. And I understand that a UN outpost is there. I understand from um, Stephen Ben-Nun that Obama and Kerry will be there. This is a big deal. So here we have control of the internet. We have the possibly the final 7 years of this earth, this final edict that would go down. Um, he will make a strong covenant with leaders for 1 week of years. So are we facing imminently the final 7 years? I don't know. We're just told to watch. Christ, Yeshua tells us to watch many times so you won't be deceived. So please watch. Please be in prayer. My little Sabbath group and I are going to fast and pray this week from Tuesday sundown through Friday sundown. If you want to join us, please do. We will be praying for our own children, our own uh, strength as end-time harvesters, or whatever Father has in mind for us, and also the saved and the unsaved world. I invite you to join us, and Father willing, I shall see you next week.